is being mixed into almost every kind of drug. You wouldn't be able to see it, or smell it, or taste it. Fentanyl is one of the most common drugs involved in overdose deaths. Know the dangers. Learn the facts about fentanyl and ways to protect yourself at cdc.gov/stop-overdose.
That's a short video that tells you a little bit about a short video that tells you a little bit about the fentanyl, and that it's making its way into our country, and that it's very lethal. It's being mixed with a lot of different it's being mixed with a lot of different drugs and things like that. Is he? Okay. Wait. This slide? Yes. Sorry. I'm not sure what happened with that. Apologize. You have to just go past this one, I think. There you go. I'm sure that you're familiar with the opioid abatement funds, and that you also have received some of those within the city of Rockport as well. This was signed by Aransas County Judge Garza and the commissioners on February 27th of 2023. So for the entire year, we've been focusing on what the requirements were for the opioid abatement, and you can choose 12 items or you can choose several items from Schedule B, and we chose these specific items. I know that this slide is kind of really, really busy, but just letting you know that there's quite a few on here. We got together, started collaborating about what the needs were within our community, and visiting with the police department, sheriff's department, and our community. So we began shortly after that. We started March 14th of 2023. It was signed in February of 2023. The Rockport Police Department and the Aransas County Sheriff's Department, so we started establishing protocols and getting Narcan in the hands of our first responders. The police department was the first to start carrying Narcan and getting things established. That was with Chief Stevens. And then setting up the protocols and training so that our officers were carrying Narcan on their uniforms at all times. Then April 11th, we met with Good Samaritans and trained CPR and Narcan training as well. And then we met with all three fire departments, EMS, and some of the Aransas County Sheriff's Department. We're at that meeting as well to finish up the training with all of our first responders. They're all carrying Narcan at this time for the protection of the first responder and for our community. May 20th, we did the American Heart Association is now implementing Narcan into first aid classes, and we continue to train the kid care and camp counselors that have Narcan at those locations as well. And then Lamar Volunteer Fire Department, the Rockport Fulton ISD. So we have Narcan now on every single campus and at the RFISD. And then with their police department, Lieutenant James Wilson. And then we participated in Recovery as Possible with the Coastal Bend Wellness Foundation. And we're working with the EOC, Mike Gear, and Jim Hollister with Tatum, because they're able to get free Narcan and put that in the hands of our law enforcement so that we're not running out of any of the Narcan within our community. Then we're continuing to teach community CPR, first aid, Narcan, drug overdoses, poison control information, getting magnets out there to our community. So each one of those items have honored that abatement that was signed in the Schedule B. This is from the CDC, SAMHSA, and the DEA that will let you know that overdoses have become the leading cause of unintentional death, and it's superseding motor vehicle accidents, where strokes and heart attacks have been on the top of that list, and then right below that was motor vehicle accidents. But now it's drug overdoses, unintentional drug overdoses, because of the fentanyl. And SAMHSA, CDC, and the DEA have said that it's believed that our generation will be the first to have a shorter lifespan as a result of, getting these opioids within our community. This is a list of common opioids. It's not all of them, but it's a list of at least a list of our most frequent use. and then the commercial name and the street name for those opioids. This here will show you that in one bottle there's heroin, the other bottle there's fentanyl, and then you'll notice that there's carfentanil, and it looks like just a little piece of salt. That's very, very lethal, and that is being mixed in other drugs as well, as long as like heroin, cocaine, methamphetamines. They're mixing it in different pill forms. It's coming in from China. It's coming in from across the border. It's being shipped in pill form. It's being shipped in candies, liquids, different things that they can mix that with, and it's very, very lethal. You're noticing that when we spoke with some of the FBI and Homeland Security, they're putting that powder on like $100 bills, putting that, on a windshield of a car. Somebody will come along, pick it up. They'll get that powder on them. Then they'll start driving. They'll start to get sleepy and starting to become unresponsive, and usually there's like a van following behind them for, human trafficking. So we've been focusing on getting human trafficking training in here as well into Aransas County. So you have Narcan in front of you, and this is how you would be using that Narcan.
Narcan nasal spray is an emergency treatment designed to rapidly reverse the effects of a life-threatening opioid emergency. If you suspect an opioid overdose, check to see if the person will not wake up, is very sleepy, or is not breathing well. Do not test the nasal spray device before use. Narcan nasal spray is for use in the nose only and is safe to use even if opioids are not present. Hold the nasal spray device with your thumb on the bottom of the plunger. Insert the nozzle into either nostril and press the plunger firmly to give the dose. One nasal spray device contains one dose of medicine. Call 911 immediately after giving Narcan nasal spray. If the person does not wake up, continue to give doses every 2 to 3 minutes until the person wakes up. It is safe to keep giving doses. Stay until an ambulance arrives, even if the person wakes up. You have the power to save a life. For more information, visit Narcan.com.
You'll have to go back to the, oh, there it goes. It went over there. So that's how you use Narcan. You have 2 Narcan in each one of the kits in front of you. That you'll notice that kit says Feel the Love campaign. And it is for the Narcan or naloxone plus strategy that we've moved toward sending this over to the jail. And that was February 14th at 1 p.m. is when we were establishing that. And we were calling it the Feel the Love campaign because it came out during Valentine's Day. So we began by identifying those that are incarcerated for opioid-related incidences, and that teaching the nurses in the jail how to give out a Narcan kit and how to do the training to people who are getting out of jail. And that Narcan is getting into the home where they're using narcotics. Maybe there's children in the home, different things like that, so that they could have that Narcan with them if they're using opioids within the home. Then we started working with other resources where Diana McGinnis has been helping get mental health and wellness and training into the school districts. So on every single campus, somebody's going in to talk about different events, and then also putting some of those within the jail that we're educating people in the jail. We kind of took over their television, so we get to have special events on the television to actually give out those resources in recovery.
We're also doing the mental health, anger management, that 101. Like if somebody's needing GED, we're doing what we can now in the jails to provide whatever services. We also have a counselor that can come into the jails and counsel these people for drug abuse.
You want to talk about the school program real quick?
Pardon?
With Donna?
Oh, we also, Donna White is our school counselor. She's we started with a grant for having a juvenile counselor all the time here in the school districts. And she is now she goes into the schools. We have classes during school. We also are using the MHMR building where we're doing parenting classes along with the drug counseling and any other counseling that we may need for her. We're doing it through all the campuses, not just high school or middle school. We also go into Fulton.
So this is the Feel the Love campaign that we've just established at the jail with education and awareness, and that recovery is possible. Also, there is a disposal medication site right in front of the jail. I know that the Rockport Police Department has also worked with the ER in distributing, getting some drugs off the street as well. And then if there's any questions or anything you may need, here's our contact information. Is there anything I can answer for you?
Anyone have a question for these good folks?
Yes, sir.
Do you have you been looking at how effective the programs have been? You've been spreading out the word a lot. Have you gotten any feedback?
The nice thing is that people are getting Narcan in their first aid kits, but we've also had the fire departments that have been able to use it. Some of the officers have also used it, but throughout Texas, you know, we're hearing that getting the Narcan in the schools are helping in other districts. God forbid we have to use it here, but at least it would be available if we had to. But getting it into the hands of the public, it's over the counter. You can buy it at Walgreens, different things like that. So, and it's very safe. You can use it for, you know, kids. You can use it over and over again. It is a very safe medication. You're very welcome. Yes, sir.
What kind of shelf life has it been?
2 years. Yep. Some of the ones we've been getting into from the state are about a year, so we rarely have to keep an eye on those. But about 2 years is the shelf life. Yes, sir.
It works with a fentanyl overdose?
Yes, that's an opioid. Any of the opioids. If you give it to someone who is maybe had used cocaine that wasn't blended with an opioid, it's probably not going to work. Yes, ma'am.
Will this presentation be online? Or would we all have access to it?
It is online. You can go to acmedicalservices.com, and it's on our website there, the Feel the Love campaign. And it is also on the Aransas County Commissioners. They YouTube that. So you can go back and see that. Don't count how many I did, because I went back and counted that.
Ours is on YouTube as well.
So the city's on YouTube also.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Patricia. We appreciate it. Judge,
Okay.
thank you very much. Appreciate you being here.
You're welcome. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
inviting me.
This time we'll have a roll call of wards to establish a quorum. Ward 1,
Here.
Ward 2,
Here.
Ward 3.
Here.
Ward 4 is absent due to family emergency. Mayor here. We do have a quorum. Next item on the agenda is citizens to be heard. At this time, comments limited to 3 minutes will be taken from the audience for persons who have signed the speaker's card located at the table at the back of the training room of the Service Center and delivered to the city secretary before the meeting begins, or written comments received by 4 p.m. on the day of the meeting on any agenda item or any subject matter that will be read at the meeting. Persons wishing to address the council and who have registered using the citizen participation form will have up to 3 minutes to speak. In accordance with the Open Meetings Act, council may not discuss or take action on any item that's not been posted on the agenda. While civil public criticism is not prohibited, disorderly conduct is disturbance of the peace as prohibited by law should be cause for the chair to terminate the offender's time to speak. I have several individuals who have signed cards or sent emails today wanting to address a particular subject as dealing with STRs. We will do that right before agenda number 10, which is where that is, since there are more than one speaker that wants to speak. Next item on the agenda, go ahead. You got one, I'm sorry. I'm ignoring one.
Patrick Kane, 1123 East Cedar Street, Rockport. This is on agenda item number 11. I know City Council has already approved the Downtown Information Center, which will be funded from $500,000 of hotel occupancy taxes. If you had to pay for this project out of the general fund, would you have approved the same amount, something less, or nothing at all? The project hasn't broken ground yet, so it isn't too late to adjust course. What is being proposed is illegal under state law, and you will have to make up this expense plus penalties out of the general fund. Texas Tax Code Section 351.01B provides that the hotel occupancy tax may not be used for general revenue purposes or general governmental operations of a municipality. Here's a quote from the Texas Municipal League article on this topic. For example, consider a request to use hotel occupancy tax to pay for construction of additional lighting, restrooms, roads, sidewalks, or landscaping in a downtown area. These are expenditures for which the city would traditionally use its general revenues. Therefore, such an expenditure would violate the prohibition against using the hotel tax for general governmental operations of a municipality. At best, one could argue the improvements would indirectly enhance tourism and hotel activity, which is not sufficient under the clear language of the tax code to qualify for funding from the hotel occupancy tax. City staff have renamed this project multiple times to try to make it fit within the HOT statute. However, the project's intent was clearly stated by the city manager as downtown restrooms on May 9th, 2023, and several updates since then showed the main purpose of the Main Street Park was to provide public restrooms downtown. I recommend either scaling the project back to something that is affordable and that can be funded from the general fund, or wait for the waterfront properties to be developed and demand those developers build and maintain public restrooms near the intersection of Main and Water Streets.
Next on the agenda is consent agenda. All consent agenda items listed are considered to be routine by the city council and be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Does anyone wish to have one of these items removed? If not, do I have a motion on the consent agenda?
Move to approve the consent agenda as approved,
I have a motion. Do I
or
have a
as
second?
presented, sorry.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, I'll call for vote. Ward 1?
Aye.
Ward 2?
Aye.
Ward 3?
Aye.
Mayor, aye. Passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda is a public hearing. This will conduct a public hearing to consider a request to rezone property located at 202 East Cornwall, also known as East 1/2 of Lot 8, all of Lot 9, Block 13, Hunter Subdivision to B1, General Business District, currently zoned R2, Second Single Family Dwelling District. It is 6:49 and we are in public hearing. If you wish to address the council on this item, you will be allowed to do so as it is a public hearing matter. Ms. Dietrich.
Good evening. There was supposed to be a representative here. Is Terry here? No, Mr. and Mrs. Crowley couldn't make it this evening. They tried. This is rezoned to B1, a vacant lot that's right next to their warehouse, and they want to use it to provide parking for the warehouse.
Okay. All right, questions, council? Anyone else wish to address this matter? If not, we will close the public hearing. It is still 6:50. And go on to agenda item 8. Deliberate and act on first reading of an ordinance amending the official zoning map as stipulated under Article 4.1 of the City of Rockport zoning ordinance number 1027 by changing the zoning of land from R2, Second Single Family Dwelling District, for property located at 202 East Cornwall, also known as East 1/2 of Lot 8, all of Lot 9, Block 13, Hunter Subdivision to B1, General Business District, repealing all ordinances in conflict therewith, providing for severability and providing an effective date. Ms. Dietrich.
The future land use map does show use, general commercial use.
Okay. Questions, council?
We got no notices against, no complaints, no phone calls
Okay.
of anything.
All right, any questions, council? Not, do I have a
No, just
motion?
for clarification, the P and Z did consider. and voted
Unanimously, yes,
unanimously,
to
yeah.
approve.
I move to approve item 8 as presented.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Motion and a second. Any further question or debate? If not, we'll call for a vote. Ward 1?
Aye.
Ward 2?
Aye.
Ward 3?
Aye.
Mayor, aye. It's unanimous. Approved. Item number 9, deliberate and act on second final reading of an ordinance authorizing the closing, vacating, and abandonment of 0.18 acres of land, being a 20-foot wide alleyway lying between lots 1, 8, and lots 9 through 16, 1 through 8, lots 9 through 16, Block 134, Manning Addition, City of Rockport, Aransas County, Texas, according to the plat recorded in Volume 1, page 7, Plat Records of Aransas County, Texas, providing for the terms and conditions of such vacation and abandonment, authorizing the mayor to execute a quitclaim deed for the 0.18 acres to be closed, vacated, and abandoned, and providing for an effective date. This is the second and final reading. Have there been any changes since first?
No, sir, no changes.
Not, do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve item 9 as presented.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further question? If not, we'll call for a vote. Ward 1.
Aye.
Ward 2.
Aye.
Ward 3.
Aye.
Mayor, aye. Item number 10, deliberate and act on second and final reading of an ordinance amending the City of Rockport Code of Ordinances, Chapter 26, Businesses, by adding Article 3, Short-Term Rentals, repealing all ordinances to the extent they are in conflict, providing for severability, providing for penalties, providing for an effective date. You've got one you need to
Mayor,
read.
Council, I have a couple of changes, very small changes that we've come up with that I'd like to read through before we go to citizen comment. It might
Okay.
take care of some of them, it may not, but
Okay.
the first one is pretty simple. If you're on the actual ordinance, section 6, everything after 1.7 of the Rockport Code of Ordinances, everything on there comes out. There was a copy and paste error, obviously. Is everybody okay with that?
Okay,
We good?
yeah. Any question about that, council?
Okay, and then if we go into the Exhibit A, go to section 26-35, number 5. We'll read as follows. The number of sleeping rooms and applicable occupancy limit of the proposed short-term rental unit, that's what has to be posted. For purpose of this section, a sleeping room is a room designated and used primarily for sleeping and rest on a bed, air mattress, cot, or couch. This shall not be interpreted to include living room, family rooms, and other similar rooms in which furniture, such as fold-down beds or convertible couches, are provided on a permanent basis for regular accommodation of residents, temporary or otherwise. So what we are removing there is the dimensions, the occupancy dimension quotient from the International Fire Code.
Okay.
Is that, do I need to go through that again? Is that understandable? I'm sorry it wasn't on the dais. It was a last minute change that I think is needed,
Any questions?
or was requested, I guess I should say.
Questions, council?
No questions, sir.
All right. There are no other questions with those changes as described. Do I have a motion?
Nope.
Comments.
Go right ahead.
No,
I'm sorry, I need to read y'all off. George, I'm sorry. Ignored y'all for a second there. George Rockers, I've got a card from you saying come up.
I don't have any changes that I would like made, except, well, first off, I'm George Rikers, 802 East Market Street. I know this has been a rough topic, especially for our city manager. It's taken up a lot of time. The only thing I would like to suggest is that we postpone this for at least another meeting or two. We only got notice of this morning, and some of our members at our short-term rental association said they would like to be here when this is approved. And of course, I called a couple of them today, and they never even got this notice this morning. Some of them don't belong to the chamber, so they don't get the chamber memos, and some of them don't get the agenda. And they weren't looking for it because it was supposed to be in March, this meeting, and we were hoping that we would be able to announce that at our regular meeting and have more in attendance, excuse me. But anyhow, that's all I gotta say. I would just like to have this postponed until the last meeting next month.
Thank
Thank
you. Jim Godfrey?
I'm Jim Godfrey, 802 East Market Street. I want to thank Vanessa, and I want to thank Stephanie for listening to my concerns and making corrections tonight on some things that I had problems with. The only other thing that I would like to question is section 2634B, where it says that the owner will be responsible for the actions of his tenants. And I find that a little harsh. I understand that if there's a problem with trash or something like that, that's my responsibility as the owner, but I certainly, if my tenants get into a fight, knockdown, drag out fight, and somebody gets hurt, I don't want to be hauled in and say it's your fault because it's your tenant. I think this is a little broad, and I'd like to see that maybe toned down a little bit to where we would be responsible for the things that we are responsible for, such as trash, mowing the lawn, making sure people don't park illegally and things of that nature. Other than that, I think Vanessa's done a fine job on this. I know it hasn't been easy for her. Thank you, Vanessa.
Thank you, Jim. Summer Terrell?
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Summer Terrell, 5451 Highway 35 North, and I'm the president of the Rockport Fulton Short-Term Rental Council. And I'm here to echo what we just heard, that Vanessa, Carrie, City Council, anyone who took the time to hold a town hall to discuss this particular topic, we would like to thank you very much. We understand that we're never, if there's an ordinance, if there's not, what's in it and what's not is never going to make anyone 100% happy. But we feel that there has been a lot of collaboration, and we're very thankful that everyone put the time in to listen not only to the short-term rental community and the short-term rental owners, but also the non-short-term rental community here in Rockport. So we look forward to working together for the partnership. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You have one to read.
Patrick Kane, 1123 East Cedar Street, Rockport, agenda item 10. Thank you for removing the verbiage limiting the number of daytime visitors. As I previously pointed out, this limitation has already been ruled unconstitutional by the Texas Third Court of Appeals. Another area that I've pointed out on numerous occasions is RV rentals are not subject to a hotel occupancy tax. I have previously provided a copy of Llano's rules, which specifically state the state comptroller's office has interpreted the hotel occupancy tax statute to exclude RVs and RV lots from taxation. Since this didn't seem to be convincing enough for our city staff, I contacted the state comptroller's office for guidance. In a general information letter, which I provided on Sunday to the city manager and my council representative, the Office of Tax Policy at the Texas Comptroller's Office clearly ruled that a customer does not owe state or local hotel occupancy taxes when renting a motor vehicle. The Tax Policy Office went on to clarify motorhomes and towable RVs are considered motor vehicles and are subject to other taxes, none of which are a hotel occupancy tax. The easiest solution to this issue is to remove recreational vehicle, RV, from the definition of STRs in section 26-33 of the proposed ordinance. If the city instead decides to collect hotel occupancy tax on RV rentals, not only will the city have to refund that revenue, it will be subject to stiff penalties by the state government.
All right. Any questions, council? No, I had three. He sent an email and didn't ask me to read it. Any questions, any concerns? Do I have a motion?
Did we receive any guidance on RV?
Yes, so reviewing what Mr. Kane said about the RVs, in the section, list RVs in our ordinance, in the STR ordinance, so they will still have to be permitted, but you cannot collect a hot tax. They're not subject to hot taxes by the tax statute. So therefore, we won't collect hot taxes on RVs or or mobile units.
So the registration and the collection of the taxes are two separate issues. They can be required to register because they're obviously being used as short-term rental. But the portion about them owing hot tax says it's hot taxes due. If you're not due, you don't have to prove that you paid them if they're not due, which they would not be due on an RV.
We can't collect the tax on it, so we can, you know, try to.
But there's nothing in the ordinance that is improper about either of those issues.
And it doesn't need to be revised to include that or anything, we're okay.
For clarification on, for a motion, what, can you give me the two sections,
Could you say as amended?
as revised? Okay. Mayor, I move to approve item 10 as revised by city manager.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further question?
No, I think again, I mean, just want to thank staff and all the participants across the entire community. I think the presentation we had on first reading was very insightful to some of the challenges that we have out there. And as Summer mentioned, we're not going to get 100% of everybody, but this is a really, I think it was a good process, and it's not something that can't be revisited when needed. So, and I think we have to come back in a certain amount of time, right, on this?
1 year, yeah.
1 year.
So, and just, in all fairness, to be honest, it's gonna take us a good 6-8 months or more to get this ramped up and going. We're gonna have to do a rollout program. We're gonna obviously have to purchase a software package. We don't want everybody coming in on day one to register their SDR. So we'll have to do some kind of, I figure by ward, registration process, to phase everybody in. We're gonna use common sense over expediency, I guess, and just make sure that it works right and that we do it correctly, and
So
not overwhelm staff.
At 8 p.m. tonight, we don't expect every SDR to be in compliance with the new ordinance.
No. You know, our goal is always compliance over penalization, so we're gonna work with everybody. It's gonna be a good process. Like I said, we'll pull some common sense in and it'll be okay. But we can't buy the software package without having an ordinance in place. So now we've got an ordinance in place, we'll purchase the software package, we'll see what the learning curve is on that. We'll keep in communication, like we've done through this entire process. The rollout process will be very public as well. We're not gonna spring it on you tomorrow and then come throw you a ticket on Thursday. So I promise, we will not do that.
Thank you.
Well, I think our messaging's been very clear that the intent is to not penalize our good business owners that are here in our town doing the right thing.
Exactly.
So even the language regarding, you know, responsibility for your tenants, we would expect any business owner in this town to take responsibility for their business. If they have issues with their tenants, they'll work through the officials to address it, but.
Well, you're responsible for guests that you have in your home that's not a rental.
Right.
You're not released from liability of their actions, so it's the same for an individual homeowner. It's nothing extra punitive to a short-term rental.
Well, this has been a long, drawn-out issue and has been addressed to the council and among the public by a lot of folks with different opinions and different feelings on the subject, people that are involved in the businesses and have concerns, people that are involved in having the businesses next door to them and the boats in their yards and so forth, and their concerns. There has been a lot of give and take from both sides, and even when people were very adamant about what they believed and passionate about their speaking, they still talked with each other, and we came out with what we believe is a workable ordinance. It will take a while to get that ordinance working. I have got an email today from a gentleman that asked, does it mean that the minute somebody says that I'm violating, you're going to come write me a ticket because I own the house that we're renting out? Doesn't mean that. It means that if there is a violation, the owner will be contacted and advised that he's responsible for some things, depending on what they are and how it fits the ordinance. But we expect the problems to be dealt with. We don't expect to have to penalize people. unless there is absolutely no compliance on their part. And all we have to have is compliance. We will have happy neighbors, we'll have happy business owners, everybody will make a living and so forth. And it has been impressive to see the number of people that were involved that looked at things entirely differently, but have been sociable and cordial and have worked together to come up with something that we hope works. And if it doesn't, it will be modified to where it does. So I appreciate it. I've got a motion, a second. Call for vote, Ward 1.
Aye.
Ward 2.
Aye.
Ward 3.
Aye.
Mayor, aye, passes unanimously. Item number 12 has been withdrawn by the council member that put it on the agenda.
11.
We gotta go to 11 first.
Thought I just read that. I must be trying to get out of here early tonight. Skip listening to the
Almost like
people
we've
that
been here
wanted to
since
talk,
8:30.
now we're skipping a whole agenda item. All right, we will go to item number 11. That's what I get for highlighting the number 12 in bright orange. Deliberate and act on second final reading of ordinance of the City of Rockport, Texas, amending ordinance number 1911, which adopted the 2023-2024 budget beginning October 1st, 2023, and ending September 30th, 2024, repealing all prior ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for publication, and providing for an effective date. Yes, sir. Okay, appreciate it. Been no changes since first reading. Thank you, Robbie. Any questions, council? Not, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to adopt agenda item number 11 as presented.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further question? Call for a vote. Ward 1,
Aye.
Ward 2,
Aye, sorry.
Ward 3. Mayor, aye. I'm not the only one forgot.
I scrolled down to 12 and I said, why does it say Brad?
It passes unanimously.
Sorry, sir.
All right, number 12 has been withdrawn by the council member that put it on the agenda. Item number 13, deliberate and act to accept certification of unopposed candidates by the city secretary for the May 4th, 2024 general election. Kimberly.
Yes, sir. For the 3 positions that are open, we have a single candidate for each position. For Ward 2, we have Matt Anderson. For Ward 4, we have Andrea Hatman. And for the mayor's position, we have Tim J-Rowe. There was no additional applications received, so it is declared to be uncontested.
All right.
I'll make the motion to accept number 13 as presented.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further debate? I'll call for a vote. Ward 1,
Aye.
Ward 2,
Aye.
Ward 3.
Aye.
Mayor, aye. It passes unanimously. Item number 14, deliberate and act on approval of ordinance of the City of Rockport declaring unopposed candidates in the May 4th, 2024 city general election elected to office, canceling the Saturday, May 4th, 2024 mayor at large, council member Ward 2, and council member Ward 4 elections, and finding and declaring that the meeting at which the ordinance is adopted was open to the public, and public notice of time, place, and the subject matter of the public business to be considered was posted as required by law, including this ordinance.
Basically, this is the council canceling the election due to the prior agenda item of uncontested election.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
I will make the motion to accept number 14 with the minor correction that it says and finding twice, so.
But I didn't read them both.
You didn't, how about this, as read by Mayor
Thank you.
J-Rowe. Huh?
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further question? Not, we'll call for a vote. Ward 1,
Aye.
Ward 2,
Aye.
Ward 3.
Aye.
Mayor, aye, passes unanimously. Item number 15, city manager report.
I felt like we should have some sort of celebration on the STR, but since y'all will not do that for me, I'll just move on to my report. The first thing I'd like to do is introduce our interim police chief, Rusty Pancoast. I'm gonna put him on the spot. Would you come up here and tell us a little bit about yourself? Very briefly, because the mayor wants to go home.
My name is Rusty Pancoast, interim chief here now for several weeks. Started law enforcement in 1974, not long after you did, and retired in 2014, and this is my 7th interim police chief job since that time. And I'm really happy to be here because we were already down here on vacation for 5 weeks when this all came about. So my wife and I love being here. So, thank you.
He's done a fantastic job for us. We've enjoyed having him, and I've asked several times if he's not interested in staying.
You can talk to my wife about that.
Thank you, Chief. Good to have you.
On my list, we have an update on the 2022 audit. I don't really have an update for you, except that it is coming. I promise we are working on it. Robbie, I'm not gonna nail him down to a definitive date to get it to you, but when you do get it, you'll have the list of the reasons why it has taken so long. There's a number of things that we're doing differently, I think, in my mind, better, and to hold us more accountable to the things that we do. So you will see that. It is behind, but this is another thing that I would rather have done right than right now. So Robbie's doing a really good job of making sure that this is done right. Gas study, we voted last year this time to permission to sell the gas system if we so choose to. We're finishing up the final stages of the valuation right now. I've been promised to have that by the end of this week. As soon as we have the valuation, we're gonna kick the RFP around between our consultant and our financial analyst and some things like that, and then we'll hit that on the streets, and hopefully after that, it's a quick process. But we'll have very good information on what we need to get on that to break even or, you know, not take a loss. Are there any questions on that? No? Okay. The utility rate study, of course, we've entered into an engagement with that, and we've gotten our RFI back. Their list is very long of the information that they want. So it's gonna be a long process. It's gonna be a lot entailed to it, a lot of information requested, but it's moving, and good luck to us. Upcoming training for boards and commissions. We had set a board and commission training just for the P&Z, primarily to go over their responsibilities, their obligations, duties, and things like that. We've opened it up and made it a little bit broader, so any board or council member can attend. Just know that it's gonna be primarily geared towards the P&Z. And Carrie, do you have that date yet? There you go, March 27th, so all day. So put that on your calendar. If you can't stay all day, at least swing by. There's gonna be good information. And we're really excited about that. And hopefully we will do that annually, biannually, or however often we have board turnover, because we really need to be reminded of our duties and what we're doing up here. So that's it. I have nothing else.
All right.
Unless there's questions.
Mayor, I assume that training will be posted and public can attend if they would like to? No?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
For the boards or city staff.
It's not a public meeting.
Okay, with inviting council, so that'll be posted as a possible quorum? Okay.
Item number 16, report from council, Ward 1.
Last week, I went to the Rockport Cultural Arts District, monthly meeting and gathered a lot of information. They're doing some really great things down there. Really was happy to see they've recently posted, the information on Ladybug Launch, happening March 9th down there. If you don't know about ladybugs, they're perfect to help with pests in your gardens. It's the perfect time to start planting. I think this is great. They're really trying to launch their own initiatives. So it's gonna be out at the railroad department, our depot, I'm sorry, and you wanna arrive early because I don't think they're gonna last very long. I'm not sure the price this time, but I'm super excited and I'll be in line early for it, so. It's kind of nerdy of me, but I'm like pro plant all the way. I'm the crazy person that goes to Lowe's just for the plant. So nothing else really in the ward. I had good conversations today regarding a lot of important things, and I appreciate all your work, Vanessa and Mark, helping get some resolution on that.
Not a whole lot to report on, but I want to personally thank Captain Garcia and Rockport Police Department. We had a lot of concerns in one of my constituent neighborhoods on speeding and concerns for the safety of the neighbors. Anyways, we did a quick traffic study out there and just appreciate him being responsive and following through with that. And so the good news is there's not a problem. So I look forward to sharing the results with the neighbors soon. But thank you, Cam.
This weekend, Saturday morning, was with Key Allegro. The mayor attended as well. Key Allegro Homeowners Association annual meeting, business meeting. We got to speak on the city's behalf on some of the things that are going on in Ward 3, particularly Key Allegro. With the STR was the main focus of attention, along with our golf carts and some other things going on in the Key Allegro. Captain Anderson was there, and he spoke to some crime statistics and whatnot in regards to Key Allegro, and it was a very, very well attended meeting. I hope they didn't have to stay too long. I hope y'all didn't ruin dinner plans, but anyway, it was a good meeting. It was a good turnout. It was good to see the people at Key Allegro, and I thank them for the opportunity to get there and speak. On a personal note, my son was involved in a little auto pedestrian accident last week at school, or after school. And he took a helicopter ride to Corpus, but I would just thank everybody for the thoughts and prayers. He is fine, and I just want to thank everybody for reaching out and asking about him. But as an 11-year-old kid is, he's crazy as usual. So.
Saturday afternoon, attended a memorial service for a man that was very well known in our community. The Jackson family, John Jackson, Bobby Jackson. Bobby was a school teacher here who was very much loved by his students, and you could tell that by the people that showed up for his service at the high school auditorium. There were people from about 3 and maybe 4 generations that had Bobby Jackson teach them Texas history in our school, and he had a huge impact on our students. They cared about him very much. We had a lot of people from the choir that came in that were former members of the choir, and they sang, and we had young people that came in that are not all that young anymore and have kids that could have nearly been in his class. But the Jackson family has been here for well over 100 years, and they lost 2 of the 3 brothers in 2 weeks. And that was a very sad thing for a well-known family in our community. I'm glad I could be there. I hope that the city and the people that know them have them in their thoughts and prayers, because it's a tough time for them. And John was very much stressed out for all that was going on. So if you know John Jackson and Debbie, his wife, keep them in your prayers, because it was a very tough week for them. City Council will hold an executive session pursuant to the provision of Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code in accordance with the authority contained in Section 551.071, consultations with attorneys seeking the advice of the attorney about pending or contemplated litigation or a settlement offer, and on a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the governmental body under the Texas Disciplinary Rules Professional Conduct and State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with this chapter. 1, City Hall. 2, Concho Street General Land Office drainage projects, and number 3, Data Pros settlement. Item number 18, Section 551.074, personnel matters, deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, the city secretary. It is 7:21, and we are in executive session. for session.
Make a motion to authorize the mayor to negotiate a conditional contract for city secretary pending a satisfactory background check.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further question? Now we'll call for a vote. Ward 1?
Aye.
Ward 2?
Aye.
Ward 3?
Aye.
Mayor, aye, it's unanimous. Any further business?
Come on, Brad.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion, I have a motion second. We are adjourned. It is 8:07.
Who second?
Stephanie, for the adjournment.